So, show of hands. Who wants to see me just repeatedly poning Inventor Gorilla over him saying stupid shit? Anybody? Well, that's what you're getting anyway, because I'm wearing my ponage t-shirt. Cracking open a Mountain Dew. I'm going to talk about Inventor Gorilla. So, I'll link to 2 videos of his below. You can watch them yourself. Even the Stigma Dane, Bruce Shepard, is poning Inventor Gorilla in his own comments by quoting one of the statutes that answers Inventor Gorilla's question. And here's the thing. Asking us what law it is that is being broken, without doing any research whatsoever, because I can tell that Bruce, he's a Google scholar. He just fucking typed it in Google and came up. Psh. Without even doing that much cursory research, why are you asking the question? It doesn't seem like you want the answer because you've been given the answer repeatedly. What makes it illegal, when we're mutilating the money? And yes, it is illegal what I have done in all of my such and such amount of money of blasphemy videos. Just look up blasphemy on my channel. You'll find them all. That's the word that I use in all of them. Here's a point that you're not getting, Christian. Just lobbying your congressman in order to have them change a law is not the only appropriate way to change a law. And I am, in all of those blasphemy videos, violating the law in order to become a defendant when I get prosecuted. And when that happens, I will get legal standing in order to fight the law. And you seem to think that if nobody ever enforces the law, then the law is not a law. Which is a really retarded idea, that if no one's enforcing it, then it's not the law anymore. No, it's still, in some states, adultery is still illegal, even if it's not enforced. Enforcement is not what it takes for something to become a law. There are laws that just declare that one day is a special day. That legislation is actually a law. If Governor Rick Perry in Texas makes a law that says that all flags need to be flown at half-mast because we're going to honor Pearl Harbor. If somebody doesn't do it with their flag, which happened all over Texas, by the way, while I was driving through Texas on those days, even though the police don't enforce it, it's still a law. That would be statute created by the governor. Anyways, there's different ways something becomes law. There's case law, there's legislation, there's statute. But enforcement of the law is not a requirement for it to be a law. All that it really requires is one of those different ways of it becoming law happens. So I gave you, Christian, the 2 ways that in God we trust being on our money is the law. First was the law that said what our national mottos are, right? So we've established what the national mottos are with a law. Then we have a law stating that all currency must have the national motto. Okay. The convergence of these 2 laws means that it is the law that we must have in God we trust on our money. Now, you've asked the question, how would somebody be prosecuted for this? And can you show me an example of enforcement of this? No. The U.S. Mint, which is, in charge of printing all the money, they have been in compliance with the law. for the most part. There have been some gaps, and they were not prosecuted for those gaps. But most any time that somebody has had this as part of a bunch of laws that they broke, the plea deals that result from that normally have dropped the defacing currency and just stuck with counterfeiting. So this law has never been used through enforcement to charge someone with in a way that it sticks. It has been used, however, to pile onto the charges that somebody is facing in order to get them to plead down. It's like when somebody burglarizes a building, they can be also charged with theft. They could also be charged with trespassing. They could be charged with curfew violation. They could be charged with all sorts of different things that get piled onto, that charge of burglary. And these charges mount up, and it's used as a scare tactic to get people to comply with the law or to accept a plea deal so that the prosecutor doesn't have to go through the lengthy process and costly process of a trial. Okay, and that's just the way that the American system works. Prosecutors use that piling on of laws in order to bully people into accepting the plea deal. So no, there really has not been any instance that I can think of in any English-speaking country, like even in the UK, when the KLF, which is a musical band you should remember, Christian, from way back when, KLF, they earned $1 million from their performances, and they decided to burn that $1 million, and it took quite a while for them to burn it all. It was crazy. You can still find that video around. There's video evidence of them destroying £1 million quid. Sorry, it wasn't dollars, it was quid. Okay, so it's British currency, but a lot of our case law comes, it recalls back to British common law. So it's a very similar system, but even in that case, they just were not prosecuted. And just because something isn't prosecuted does not mean that it's not a law and that it's not used as a law in order to bully people into doing something. Such as the Pledge of Allegiance has actually been approved through legislation, but nobody's ever been arrested for not saying it. Under God was added to it with more legislation, and nobody's ever been arrested for not saying under God. It has resulted in some school disciplinary action of children who started a trend of just remaining silent for that portion of the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you want references on that, I can give you that too. But you didn't read the references that I gave you in the first fucking place, telling you which two laws converge to make In God We Trust legally bound to be on our currency. So yeah, I imagine that should I ever be sought after for marking out the T on In God We Trust and changing it to In God We Rust, they might actually, if it is a Christian prosecutor, they might see that they are facing something that they can't win, and they might be more concerned with getting a win in their win-loss column for cases, so they might try to change it to counterfeiting, which it's a stretch, but they don't want to lose that case. No prosecutor would want to be known as the person who lost the case that made it so In God We Trust was then seen as unconstitutional. So they're not going to give me the standing by prosecuting me, even though I've put video evidence of myself doing this all over the fucking place, okay? They're not going to prosecute me for it because they don't want the law overturned. They like things the way they are because people are scared into complying with it, for fear of retribution of the law, and nobody has stood up to it. And the reason why I am willing to do this illegal act would be Thomas Jefferson's teaching that if a law is immoral, we should break that law and stand up for ourselves. It's our duty to stand against laws which are immoral and unjust. Maybe you think that only lobbying a Congress that has like 99% Christians in it to change this law is the right way to go about it, but I could probably provide you with a lot of different references of people who have written to their congressman about this. There are some famous cases about this that still just, they get ignored because no congressman wants to lose their, re-election bid, as the person who, favored removing "In God We Trust" off the law, because frankly, evangelicals are a very large voting bloc. So, with that legislative avenue being fruitless, are you asking people to just stop there because you think it's only proper to go through the legislative route? I say no, Inventor Gorilla. There are other ways. Now, if somebody was to be prosecuted, we could, just lobby the DA, or we could lobby the president, and try to use the executive route to get pardons for everyone. But that's not going to create case law, to prevent it from happening again. So I have chosen to try to get charged with this. Okay? That's why I'm in solidarity with Ichiro. And I completely believe that if Ichiro had access to money, like in a retail sense, that even if he could just take it out of a cash register and do it, he would. But he's just, he doesn't have as much access to the money as everyone else. But he was the creator of this, and I do believe that he feels just as strongly about this as I do, and a lot of other people. I'm not the person that has the boner for defacing currency. No, I just have been lucky enough to have some currency pass through my hands and had a camera available at the time. One last thing, I'm just reading this comment off of IG's last video. Lasoyo said, "I would disagree that it establishes a religion. There's a difference in naming God and saying it's a Christmas God." No, stop drinking and web surfing, Lasoyo. It's not good for you. I'm not saying that it's establishing a religion. I'm saying it's respecting the establishment of a religion. Okay? Go read that amendment to the Constitution again. That's what I'm actually arguing, is that it's unconstitutionally respecting the establishment of a religion. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a specific God, but if you were to look at the people who pushed for this as a set of laws that created this circumstance that "In God We Trust" is on our money, you will find that all of them were Christian, and they were talking about the Christian God, and they mean God with a capital fucking G. And it's just a failsauce argument that, it could be any God. Your God could be science. No, bullshit. And laughable bullshit. So, Christian, you've wasted a bit of my time once again, and directly after this video I will be posting a much more interesting video of the Creation Museum in Santee, California, and I'm not even going to wait any bit of time to respect this video and let it grow some views, because I'm really seeing you not so much as an adversary but as sort of a time sucker, and it seems like your mission is in life is to slow me down so I can't make these awesome arguments that completely make Christianity toothless. You know why I want Christianity toothless? Because I want the gums on the guns, baby.